Hey, shalom. Most High bless to everybody. I do apologize. I know I was supposed to be on here an hour ago, almost an hour and 30 minutes ago, but it has been an interesting day. And I just want to say shalom to all of you. It's been a minute, but I'm trying to get things back going, up and started. So I'm so happy you guys are here with me today. So you guys are we're in for a big treat. I got my brother Yahven that's getting ready to come on, and he's gonna bless us with some great information that he's been working on. And yeah, so we're in for a sweet treat. So let me take a look and see what's going on in my comment section. All right, brother, straight like that. Shalom, Marquis. Shalom. Um, FS Drake Theo. All right. Oh, shalom, Sharsham. Most High bless. And Matthew Menard. Peace and blessings, GT. So, guys, yes, again, like I said, I do apologize. It's been an eventful day, but guess what? We are here. And let me bring my brother in. All right. Shalom. Most High bless, Yavin.
Shalom, sis. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Awesome, awesome. Shalom, Israel. Most High bless to everybody. Uh, I'm just chilling. So we live now.
Yes,
So
we
mhm.
are live. So, why don't you tell Shalom, Yasa? Thanks for coming out. So, Yaba, why don't you let everybody know what they're in for, and what motivated you to want to bring this information out?
Yeah. So I've pretty much been researching the origins of Canaan. Um, coming out of the ark and everything. And what really motivated me, of course, was all the great work you put into teaching us about the Canaanite sis, as well as other stuff that I've been learning about, Canaan's history and stuff like that. And a lot of people who are trying to deny Canaan's identity, but after tonight, and of course with your help, and it's irrefutable who they are outside of just the land of Israel. You know what I mean? When
Yes.
they dwell there, yeah. So
Yes, excuse me, my kids. But yeah, people don't really understand the importance of Canaan. Everybody looks at the Canaanites like they were just this cursed group of people that were shunned out to, being out there in the fields and living off of pretty much like primitive people living outside in the land, living outside and in huts and stuff like that. But no, that's not the Canaanites. And the Canaanites are actually very, very important. If anything, just how people would talk about Lucifer, you need to be talking about the Canaanites just as well, because they're the ones who are actually causing us the most problems. And we need to understand they're all throughout the Bible, they're the ones that influence us to leave our God and to worship other gods. Remember, it was the Canaanites that had a king, and guess what? We wanted a king because they had a king. So they were very influential to our people, and then that is the reason why we're in the state that we're in today. So, with all said and done, I want to give Yavin the floor, and let's get ready to get things started.
awesome, awesome. Thank you,
I'm going to
sis.
remove myself.
Okay, let me
Um,
see
Let
here.
me know when you want to share your screen, and I'm gonna go ahead and do just that.
Okay, perfect. Let me see. Trying to figure out which is it screen one. Yes. Okay, I think I'm good now. Okay, just give me a minute here. Um, I'm moving tabs around on my other two screens. Let's see. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Right. So basically, so Shalom Israel. Sis Naphtali was kind enough to give me the floor. So we about to deep dive into the origins of the descendants of Canaan, and pretty much just expose the obvious. but we're gonna tie it all together, so it's kind of irrefutable. So I'm gonna start off with this first slide here. I'm gonna go to Genesis chapter 9, verse 25, and of course it says, "And he said, Cursed be Canaan, a servant of servants shall he be unto his brethren." Now, we know that the Europeans tries to use this and flip it around to try to make it the curse of Ham to justify the evil atrocities that they've done to our people. But like like we say, the scriptures never say that Ham was cursed. It says that Canaan was cursed. And we're about to deep dive into this and figure out exactly who Canaan is in their origin, so we can tie it all together. Because a lot of people already know who Canaan is, but this is going to be pretty much undeniable. So I'm gonna start off with Japheth. I'm gonna go to the book of Jasher, chapter 10, and I'm gonna just read a few scriptures here. I'm not gonna read everything. I just kind of highlighted the parts that I wanted to uh, focus on. So pretty much, uh, chapter 10, verse 8, and the children of Gomer, according to their cities, were the Fransom, who dwell in the land of Franza, by the river Franza, uh, by the river Sinai. So we know Japheth populated Europe after the flood, the sons of Japheth. And Franza is pretty much France here. And then we have, so if we go to verse 11, and they call their cities after their own names, those are they who abide by the rivers Hitala and Italak unto this day. So that's Italy, of course. And we go to verse 12. But the families of Angoli, Bulgar, and Parzunak, they dwell by the great river Dubni, I think that's what it's called. That which is this river here that flows all throughout Europe. So the scriptures, the Most High is pretty much letting us know where Japheth settled after the flood. So if we go down to verse 15, and the children of Elisha are the Almanim, and they also went to build themselves cities. Those are the cities situate between the mountains of Job and Shebathmo, and of them were the people of Lombardy who dwell opposite of the mountains of Job, Shebathmo, and they conquered the land of Italia and remain there unto this day. Verse 16, and the children of Shittim are the in the valley of Canopia by the river Tiberio. So Roman, of course, we know what that is. And yeah, I'm not going to be long with it with these scriptures, but it's pretty much saying Japheth settled in Europe, right? And so this is a witness from what the scriptures are saying, and we're going to go to another witness, basically just historical references and DNA, which they admit that the first people who settled into Europe were Black people. So these people here, they call them the Western hunter-gatherers. And what they have to say about these people is, from based on DNA samples and archaeogenics, the term Western hunter-gatherer names a distinct ancestral component of modern Europeans. So the key word is distinct ancestral component, which means that their bloodline is pretty ancient, but some of these people's bloodline reside in modern Europeans. So according to a 2020 study, the arrival of early European farmers from Western Anatolia, which is Asia Minor, Turkey, from 8,500 to 5,000 years ago, along with the Western steppe herders during the Bronze Age, caused a rapid evolution of European populations towards lighter skin and hair. Admixture between hunter-gatherer and agriculturist populations was apparently occasional but not extensive. So here they're also showing where these people dwell, the Western hunter-gatherers, which is pretty much in the same regions where Joshua chapter 10 is talking about, where the sons of Japheth went. And this is what they're saying as well, that from DNA, this is what Japheth looked like. So pretty much just a black person, just like all the sons of Noah. So as we continue on, right?
And Yavin, I just wanted to add in with that is that
Oh,
when
go
you
ahead.
talk about
Go ahead.
Japhet, yeah, when you talk about Japhet, a lot of people don't understand that everybody always talks about how Japhet is in Europe or that a European. But people have to understand is that there's a lot of black people or people that are melanated or whatever you want to call them that resided up in Europe. And who I'm talking about is I'm talking about the Australian Aboriginals. Now everybody looks at them and say, "Well, Neff, those people are in Australia." So they have a pattern of when they moved all the way up to Europe and they had gotten this DNA, which is called Denisovan DNA. So a lot of that, when they found the Denisovans, they only were located within, Turkey and over there. So the question is how did they get this type of DNA if they're not from this region of land, which they are? And a lot of people would say that the Australian Aboriginals are Japheth, based off of the islands, the people, of
Mm-hmm.
the islands and things like that. So I'm gonna let you go ahead and continue. I just wanted to add that.
Come on, sis, and feel free to jump in anytime you like. If there's anything you want to add,
Yes.
feel free to stop me at any time.
Hmm.
Okay, con. So we're gonna go on now, right? So now we're gonna deal with the early European farmers, right? So we're gonna read here. The early European farmers moved into Europe from Asia Minor, Turkey, through Southeast Europe from around 7000 BC, gradually spread north and westwards and reached Northwest Africa via the Iberian Peninsula. Genetic studies have confirmed that early European farmers can be modeled as Anatolian Neolithic farmers with a major contribution from Western hunter gatherers, with a significant regional variation. European farmer and hunter gatherer populations coexisted and traded in some locals, although evidence suggests that the relationship was not always peaceful. Over the course of the next 4,000 years or so, Europe has transformed into agricultural communities, and Western hunter gatherers were displaced to the margins. This is pretty much alluding to what we're about to go into regarding Canaan. I'm just showing you from the beginning, and we're going to lead up into everything. So, as you can see here, right here in Asia Minor, here's the migration pattern. They come all up in Europe. The early European farmers, they populate all up in Europe, everywhere, from Turkey, Asia Minor. And we know who dwelled in Asia Minor, which is the Hittites. And we know some of you already know what the Hittites look like. But this is the reconstruction of the early European farmers here. These are actual reconstructed uh, mannequins. I want to say they give you visuals of what they look like coming out of Turkey. So as we can see, all of Europe here, but we're going to focus in on this red part, this very interesting part that they show here on the migration pattern in the next slide. So let's go to the next one. So we're going to observe a group of people called Hurrians, right? The Hurrians, called Hari, Horites, Hori, Kuri, Hurriter, were a people who inhabited the ancient Near East during the Bronze Age. They spoke a Hurrian language and lived throughout northern Syria, upper Mesopotamia, and southern Anatolia. The Hurrians were first documented in the city of Urkesh, where they built their first kingdom. Their largest and most influential Hurrian kingdom was Mitanni. The population of the Hittite Empire in Anatolia included a large population of Hurrians, and there's a significant Hurrian influence in Hittite mythology. By the early Bronze Age, the Hurrians have been assimilated with other peoples. The state of Urartu later covered some of the same area. So here's that same spot, right, where it shows a migration pattern. And this is their capital here, Urkesh. So the Hurrians and the Hittites, they say the Hittites dwelled among them, but the Hittites assimilated them and pretty much overpowered them. And the migration pattern, as you saw from the previous slide, it goes all up in Europe, right? So let's look at the city of Urkesh. Urkesh, also translated Urkesh, is a tell or settlement mound located in the foothills of the Taurus Mountains. Okay, keyword here, Taurus Mountains. And this is what the Taurus Mountains look like, right? So we're going to go deep dive into really who these Hurrians are, right? Because that's what they're called. But we're going to prove through second, third, and fourth witnesses who these people are, right? A Hurrian is a Horite, the same thing. They're just called by a different name by different locals throughout the Levant. So we're going to go to Strong's number 82752. What is a Horite? Cave dweller or troglodyte, a Horite or Aboriginal Idumean, Horims, Horites. If you type in Horite here, Horian, it gives you the translation. Same people. And we have Horim. The Horites are called by many different names. They have many different aliases. And Horites, descendants of Hori, the Aboriginal inhabitants of Mount Seir, and probably allied with the Innu and Raphaim, the name Horite appears to have been derived from their habits as cave dwellers. Their excavated dwellings are still found in hundreds of Stanhope cliffs and mountains of Edom, and especially Petra. So here's another witness, right? Horites or Horim were people mentioned in Torah, Genesis 14:6, 36 to 20, Deuteronomy 2:12, inhabiting areas of Mount Seir, which was in Canaan. Mount Seir seems to have been named after one Seir, who the land of the Horites, the land of Seir, was named after. He was the ancestor of the Horite chiefs later listed in Genesis 36. The Horites have been identified with references in Egyptian inscriptions to Har, formerly translated as Hari, which concern a southern region of Canaan. So they're saying here, the Egyptian descriptions called them Horians as well. And we have other witnesses as well throughout my presentations that I'm going to prove as well. So, okay, so these were Horites who dwelled in the mountains of Taurus Mountains inside of southern Turkey, okay? Because as I'm going to show you, right? Let's go to Obadiah chapter 1, verse 3. The pride of thine heart has deceived thee. Thou hast dwellest in the cliffs of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? So we know they dwelt in Mount Seir and the Taurus Mountains, but they also dwelled in the Caucasus Mountains as well, that a lot of people don't realize. This is the key component here, because as Noah's Ark came out, landed in Mount Ararat, right? Here's Mount Ararat. This is where Noah's Ark landed. Caucasus Mountains is right here. So everybody gets out of the ark. So you're saying that everybody decided amongst themselves to just, hey, let's all go to the land of Israel? Canaanites dwelled in many different areas, as Genesis says. Genesis said the Canaanites were scattered abroad. So let's go to this witness here, this Israel Today archaeology, this article, right? Were the Canaanites Caucasian? Researchers have at the Hebrew University have found that the genetic roots of the Canaanites stretch as far as the Caucasus and Iran. The Canaanites did not just dwell in the land of Israel. That's a land that they took that wasn't supposed to be theirs, but they also dwelled amongst other areas. So again, Noah's Ark landed here. The Caucasus Mountains is right here. The Caucasus Mountains is closer to Noah's Ark than the land of Israel is. And we know the Amorites, the Hittites, the Horites dwelled in many different places, as we're going to prove. So I'm just showing the map to give you a better understanding. So let's go to the next slide. So here's more information that's going to prove my point here. The Caucasus Mountains, the people who came out of the Caucasus Mountains are the people who gave birth to the Indo-European language family. And reconstructed linguistics prove that the people who came out of the Caucasus were the original people of all European languages. So the Indo-European languages are a language family native to the overwhelming majority of the Iranian plateau, Okay, Europe and Iran. Now it says here that the Canaanites, their genetic root stretch as far as the Caucasus and Iran. These are two key geographical locations here that you're going to hear repeated out throughout the presentation, right? So, Caucasus and Iranian Plateau. And the northern Indian subcontinent, some European language of this family, English, French, Portuguese, Russian, Dutch, and Spanish, y'all's favorite, have expanded through colonialism. We know what that means, right? In the modern period and are now spoken across several continents. The Indo-European family is divided into several branches or subfamilies, of which there are 8 groups with languages still alive today: Albanian, Armenian, Balto-Slavic, Celtic, Germanic, Hellenic, Indo-Iranian, and Italic Romance, and another 9 subdivisions that are now extinct. Okay, all Indo-European languages are descended from a single prehistoric language, linguistically reconstructed as Proto-Indo-European, spoken sometime in the Neolithic to early Bronze Age. Geographic location where it was spoken, the Proto-Indo-European homeland has been the object of many competing hypotheses. The academic census supports the Kurgan hypothesis, which posts the homeland to the Pontic Caspian steppe in what is now Ukraine and southern Russia, okay, which is right where the Caucasus Mountains is. Southern Russia and Ukraine, right here. Where the conflict popped off with Putin and them, same spot. So the Most High is being poetic with how it's carrying out things, if you can just kind of have spiritual eyes to see. So the Indo-European migrations are hypothesized migrations of Proto-Indo-European language speakers, and subsequent migrations of people speaking derived Indo-European languages, which took place approximately 4,000, 1,000 BCE, potentially explaining how these languages came to be spoken across a large area of Eurasia, spanning from the Indian subcontinent to Iranian plateau to Atlantic Europe. Canaanites just didn't all dwell in the land of Canaan that they stole. They dwelled in a lot of different places coming out of the ark. So today, the descendants of languages of PIE, Proto-Indo-European, with the most native speakers, Spanish, English, Portuguese, etc. We read that. And here is a globe illustration showing all of the region where these languages have been spoken. Subgroups have been created. Notice how Africa isn't touched, right? Because nobody in Africa speaks any type of derived Indo-European language coming from Pi, which is Proto-Indo-European. And here's the migration pattern, another witness to the original speakers of Proto-Indo-European, straight out of the Caucasus Mountains. They came out of the Caucasus into Anatolia, where you see the Hittites, and went all up in Europe. Okay, another witness right there that proves the theory to be true of the reconstructed linguistics of the Proto-Indo-European languages. And another witness here, which also shows the migration coming out of Asia Minor after the migration coming out of the Caucasus. It started with the Caucasus first. Then they went into Anatolia. Even though there were already people in Anatolia, the people of the Proto-Indo-European language family came out of the Caucasus. So let's go to the next slide here. So I threw this slide in here to kind of get a perspective to which ties into the identity of the Canaanites. Deuteronomy 28, chapter 28, verse 43. The stranger that is within thee shall get high above thee, and thou shalt come down very low. And so if you really think about what the Most High is saying here, right, he's not just talking about your credit score. He's talking about the stranger as far as their language, culture, their population, and their wealth. In total, 46% of the world's population, 3.2 billion people, speak the Indo-European language as the first language, by far the highest of any language family. There are about 445 living Indo-European languages, according to an estimate of Ethnologue, with over 2/3, 313 of them belonging to the Indo-Iranian branch. So again, it's talking about Iran, and the root genetics of the Canaanites came from Caucasus and the Iran, according to the witness there. So these are just some screenshots showing how the people that the Most High was talking about, how they established all kinds of different countries, and uh, they just got really high above Israel, and Israel is at the very bottom. They're at the very top, just like the scriptures say. But somehow this is talking about, starving Africans in Africa who are supposed to be high above the children of Israel. Somehow it just doesn't make any sense when you really just take time to analyze what the scriptures are saying. It's just completely whacked out. So let's onto this slide. We're just going to further prove through these people's behavior patterns that they're the Canaanites, right? Um, so somebody's asking a question on, I think this is Reddit, I believe where I got this from. Ask Anthropology, a website where people like to ask questions about certain things. Somebody else, right? They say, were dark-skinned hunter-gatherers in Europe mainly killed off, displaced, or were they mainly just absorbed by the light-skinned population from the east? Right? Somebody's asking that question. Well, we don't really need to play guessing games. We can just see what the Bible says, right? And look at these people's behavior pattern of these so-called light-skinned population, right, from the east, which is Asia Minor, we know. So we're going to go to the book of Enoch, chapter 3, and let's see what it says, right? The watchers have their own families with humans and with animals. And those that were defiled by them gave birth to giants. These giants began to grow to massive sizes and become full of greed and corruption. Just like when Lamech said he saw Noah and he thought he looked like the offspring of the fallen, right? A characteristic of the offspring of the fallen is greed and corruption. They kill many dragons, and the sons of Cain worship them for protecting them. The children of Cain are no longer able to sustain the giants with their offering of vegetables and grain, so the giants turn on them and kill them and begin to eat them. The giants develop a taste for blood and begin eating any moving thing, including each other. The watchers teach some of the secrets they were appointed over to keep from the sons of men. They taught them these secrets, right? The giants imitate the sins of their fathers and take for themselves wives and animal mates. And they beget Nephil and Elio. God, seeing this, all this wickedness, sends Enoch to declare to Shemzaza and the fallen watchers that they will soon be punished for causing the earth to be corrupted. Well, let's look at the characteristics of these people, right? What do these people go around the earth doing? Colonizing, murder, genocide, slavery. Untold story of King Leopold, who killed over 10 million Africans. This is just one example. Here we have the Spaniards coming over here. As we can see what the Aboriginal people look like. They have darker skin before their seed was whited out by, Christopher Columbus and Cortez. They go around the earth making wars, killing people, and invading people's land, setting up, apartheids or whatever they want to do, murder. And so, as we can see, what the people looked like before these people came, they had darker skin, right? And we know they look this way because the Mongolians came before the Spaniards. As you can see, they have nothing but dark skin. All these people. Even Moctezuma, I believe he's the Aztec and a Mayan king, darker skin, right? So this is the characteristic of the children of the watchers. This is what they do: greed and corruption. So just another witness to these people's behavior. You don't really need to ask were they killed off or did they. The Bible's telling you, So let's go to the next one, right? So let's go and see. Let's dive deeper into a Horite and what exactly is a Horite. So of course we still have the definition here: cave dweller or troglodyte, or Horite or Aboriginal Idumean. Troglodyte, especially in prehistoric times, a person who lived in a cave. Now, we showed the witnesses where the Horites dwelled in Mount Seir, the Taurus Mountains, and the DNA from the Canaanites goes all the way back to the Caucasus Mountains. right? So let's get another witness of what Seer really means in ancient Hebrew, right? Shaggy, hairy, demon possessed goat or hairy goat devil, right? So that's the Hebrew definition of kid, goat, devil, satyr, hairy. And that's what Neanderthals look like as they continue to, these Neanderthals, as they say, are extinct, but this is what they look like before they kept mixing their bloodline with humans, aka Negroes, the Aboriginal people of the earth. As they keep mixing their bloodline with us, they become more and more, I guess, human-like from their original Neanderthal troglodyte-looking appearance. This is what the scriptures are saying, right? Of what a Horite is. Why they called him Seer the Horite, because they were calling him a devil, a hairy devil, right? So let's go to the next one. All right. So we're going to deep dive into some things about Canaan and their practices. So here, that the world may know, with Ray Vander Leen, we're going to talk about the gods, right? The Asherah. Asherah was worshipped in various ways, including through ritual sex. Although she was believed to be Baal's mother, she was also his mistress. Pagans practiced sympathetic magic, that is, they believed they could influence the gods' actions by performing the behavior they wished the gods to demonstrate. Believing the sexual union of Baal and Asherah produced fertility, their worshippers engaged in immoral sex to cause the gods to join together, ensuring good harvest. This practice became the basis for religious prostitution. 1 Kings chapter 14, verses 23 and 24. The priest or a male member of the community represented Baal. The priestess or female members of the community represented Asherah. In this way, God's incredible gift of sexuality was perverted to the most obscene public prostitution. No wonder God's anger burned against his people and their leaders. So here, what you see with the sorcery and the witchcraft that they play on our people, with the gender war to get us to hate one another and to seek their peace and their wealth, this is just another form of them getting us to worship their gods through intermixing our seed with them. Because that's pretty much what Asherah and Baal is set up to do, is to get us to fall away from Yah and seek their peace and covenants with them, that we may fall, right? And look what Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse 2 says. Ye shall utterly destroy all the places wherein the nations which ye shall possess serve the gods. Upon the high mountains, right? Upon the high mountains, the hills, and under every green tree is where Asherah was worshipped. The real agenda here is to destroy the bloodline of the human race and mix it with Neanderthal DNA. That's really the goal of their gods, Baal and Asherah, to worship their gods, to wipe out the aboriginal DNA of the human that Yah created. With all the sorcery and the witchcraft that they play on our people, that's just another form of it. It's the same thing with this example that I have here, right? Why does a rabbi own Pornhub? Well, if you know what the scriptures are saying and you know exactly who your enemy are, and you're not following out the 12 tribes chart that's telling you that other people who have this DNA, this troglodyte Neanderthal DNA within them, you will know what the Father's saying. Genesis chapter 28, verse 1. And Isaac called Jacob and blessed him and charged him. Key word. He charged him and said unto him, thou shalt not take a wife of the daughters of Canaan. Right? So this is pretty much why Pornhub exists. High levels of sorcery and witchcraft to get the men and women of Israel to lust after the strange Neanderthal flesh so their hearts can turn away from Yah. Underhanded, very sorcery-like witchcraft that we don't understand, that a lot of our people are caught up in, which is still having us worship their gods with but we are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. We don't understand that. So let's look at another characteristic of these people, right? Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 18, verse 9. When thou art come into the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee, thou shalt not learn to do after the abomination of those nations. Leviticus chapter 18, verse 23. Neither shalt thou lie with any beast to defile thyself therewith. Neither shall any woman stand before a beast to lie down thereto. It is confusion. So who are the people today who are really pushing this abominable bestiality type stuff? Well, let's just go back to what the scripture said, right? The watchers have their own families with humans and also with animals, and take for themselves wives of and animal mates, right? This is the characteristic of the children of the offspring of the fallen, of the watchers. And we know who are really the top tier people who are pushing this type of confusion, right? So let's get an article here saying, knowing the Bible, the extermination of the Canaanites. The reason Yahweh repeatedly gives for the extermination of the Canaanites is that it is their judgment for their sin and rebellion against him. They quote some scriptures here. The Canaanites as a whole culture committed sins of idolatry, holy temple prostitution, adultery, homosexuality, incest, murder, bestiality, gang rape, and child sacrifice. Though other cultures also participated in some of these practices, it was the widespread involvement and acceptance of these sins that brought the Canaanites under Yahweh's judgment. These sins exist in every culture, then and now, but are forbidden by most governments and are socially condemned by the majority of people in the culture. However, in Canaanite culture, these sins were pretty much universally practiced and accepted because this is what their gods were like. Not only did they declare these acts as righteous morality, but they also participated in those acts to worship of their gods as a means of gaining the gods' approval. So that's pretty much what they're doing. You're worshiping their God when you mix your bloodline with them. You're still worshiping Asherah and Baal, but you think you got a passport, or you saying I'm gonna just find love where I can get it. No, you're still worshiping Asherah and Baal, and that's not going to get you in the kingdom. As well as when you get on your cell phone and participate in these acts, lusting after troglodyte, Neanderthal, strange flesh, it's the same thing. That's why it's set up to keep the children of Israel in sin. So as we can see here, he doing his thing. This is the type of stuff that comes out when they have animal mates. My dad told me when I was younger. He said cowboys used to go out into the barn and rape the cows, and then the cow would have birth, and then have to burn the offspring and stuff like that. I thought it was crazy and wild what he said, but then as I get into the truth and understand it, I say, yeah, that's these people's nature. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna leave that one alone. We already know what'll be going on with that. The dog, he doing his thing. So that's just another witness, and it's.
Hold on, Yahven. Now, what happened? You said your dad they was going in the boards.
My dad told me. He said what cowboys used to do is they used to go outside and screw the cow, and then the cow would give birth, and then they would have to kill the offspring.
Oh my
Because they
goodness.
was out there screwing animals. Yeah.
Wow. A lot of people don't understand this right here, and I'm going to share this. Is that everybody looks at people talk about, oh, evolution this, evolution that, and how we shared like 99 or 98% of our DNA with a monkey or ape. However, people don't speak on that. A lot of people share 99% of their DNA with a pig. And
I'm gonna get in there. I'm glad you said that.
oh, well, let me get
Okay.
out because you
No, go
already
ahead.
on top of it.
Oh, go ahead. If you got
So,
more, go ahead. Speak. Go ahead.
okay, so it's
Yeah.
like this, right? People, Europeans, right? When they go in, they want to have, people can be burn victims or any type of situation that happens when you need extra skin.
Mm-hmm.
So like a lot of like people's getting breast implants, they're getting their nose done. Anywhere that you need to add in some extra skin, you can either do cadaver skin. So people would
Mm-hmm.
go and get the skin of a a cadaver, or you can get the skin of a pig. And a lot of people do that. A lot of people actually get the pig skin because it's actually the Europeans is actually closer to their skin than anything else. So
Yep.
I just wanted to share that. And y'all was saying he about to go in, so let's do it.
Yeah, oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yep. See you thinking just like me, and you already on top of it. And I was just about to get to it too. So let's go ahead and do that. And I would love for you to add your commentary too once I expound on this. So a Neanderthal, right, is code word for troglodyte. A Neanderthal is a troglodyte. Let's go and read what this article is saying, right? The reasons for Neanderthal extinction are disputed. Theories for their extinction include demographic factors such as small population size and inbreeding, competitive replacements, interbreeding and assimilation with modern humans, change of climate, disease, or a combination of these factors, right? The total population of Neanderthals remained low, proliferating weakly harmful gene variants and precluding effective long distance networks. Despite this, there's evidence of regional cultures and regular communication between communities. They may have frequented caves and moved between them seasonally. Neanderthals lived in high stress environments with high trauma rates, and about 80% died before the age of 40. The 2010 Neanderthal Genome Project's draft report presented evidence of interbreeding between Neanderthals and modern humans, right? So it's only saying what the scripture's saying, and it's being backed up
I
with
just
this.
wanted to add some more commentary to what you're saying,
Oh,
Yavin.
for sure, for
A lot of
sure.
people know what the Neanderthal is, and that's when I brought up the Denisovan at the beginning as well, because the Neanderthal and the Denisovans are pretty much the same thing, and they're the subhuman species. So yes, I
Hmm.
just wanted to just elaborate more with you on that.
For sure, for sure. Yep. So let's keep going. This is going to get very interesting, right? So let's talk about the Amorites. Let's go to Leviticus chapter 17, verse 14. The Amorites or Canaanites. It says, "For it is the life of all flesh. The blood of it is for the life thereof. Therefore I said unto the children of Israel, Ye shall not eat the blood of no manner of flesh, for the life of all flesh is the blood thereof. Whoever eateth it shall be cut off." And these people love eating that meat raw. They even have restaurants where you can go and eat raw meat. It's their nature, right? And let's prove that. Let's go back. Let's see what it says here about the offspring of the fallen. Giants turned and killed them and then began to eat them. The giants develop a taste for blood, right? They have animal and human mates. Keep that in mind. So um, let's get a real witness, historical witness account, right? Of what somebody said about the Amorites. Remember, these are Canaanites, descendants of Canaan. Shushan was a king of Sumer and Akkad and was the preeminent king of the Ur-3 dynasty. He succeeded his brother Amarcian in reign. So here's what he says about the Amorites. By the time of the last days of the third dynasty of Ur, the immigrating Amorites had become such a force that kings such as Shushan were obligated to construct a 270-kilometer, 170-mile wall from the Tigris to the Euphrates to hold them off. The Amorites are depicted in contemporary records as nomadic tribes under chiefs who forced themselves into lands. Now remember, in Genesis it says that the Canaanites were scattered abroad. They didn't all just dwell in Canaan, the land of Canaan that some of them stole. They were scattered abroad. They needed to graze their herds. Some of the Akkadian literature of this era speaks disparagingly of the Amorites, disparagingly, and implies that the Akkadian and the Sumerian speakers of Mesopotamia viewed their nomadic and primitive way of life with disgust and contempt. In the Sumerian myth, marriage of Martu, written early in the second millennium BC, a goddess considering marriage to the god of the Amorites, is warned. Let's see what it says. Now listen, their hands are destructive and their features are those of monkeys. An Amorite. Here's an Amorite sitting on the Egyptian throne, the Hyksos.
Hold on, what was that again? You said there. What was that?
It says, now listen, this is what Shushan is writing, right? It says,
Uh-huh.
now listen, their hands are destructive and their features are those of monkeys and Amorites.
Wow. Okay. All right. Keep it up.
Yep. Yep. So what's understood doesn't need to be explained. Everything that they say about us, they're really talking about themselves. So here's an Amorite. That's an Amorite. As you can see, they have pale skin. They're not black, starving Africans in the land in Africa, like these liars like to say. They're white people, pale skin. Okay, now let's keep going. Is one who eats what the moon god Nana forbids and does not show reverence. They never stop roaming about. So how they all in Canaan? They're everywhere. They're scattered abroad. They are an abomination to the gods' dwellings. Their ideas are confused. They cause only disturbance. The Amorite is clothed in sack leather, lives in a tent, exposed to the wind and rain, and cannot properly recite prayers. He lives in the mountains. Okay, just what we said earlier about the Horites, and ignores places of gods, digs up truffles in the foothills, does not know how to bend the knee in prayer. Okay, why do they get mad at the, I forgot his name, but they don't bend the knee. Okay, this is these people's characteristics. If a black man bend his knee, he gonna catch all kind of him. I get thrown in jail. You know what I mean? This is their practices, and eats raw flesh. Hmm. Okay. Now, this is not my words. This is a witness, an actual king who lives, who's talking about these people. Okay. He has no house during his life, and when he dies, he will not be carried to a burial place. My girlfriend, why would you marry Martu? So now let's further prove this, right? Now, here we have the Hyksos coming into Egypt. These are Amorites. This is who Shushan was describing. Now, we know when the Hyksos came into Egypt, they sat on the Egyptian throne. That's what they do. They come into everybody else's land, and they invade and they infiltrate. This is what history is even saying about these people. Okay, just like we see here. Okay, these are these people's characteristics. The children of the fallen. They come into other people's lands, infiltrate, enslave them if they can, murder, rape, everything. Okay, and these were the first people who gave Egypt issues because Egypt's bloodline was being whited out. Long before the Greeks and the Romans came, it was the Hyksos, which are the Amorites, who came into Egypt causing problems. Okay, so of course he's looking at his descendant, and you know, so yeah, this is characteristics of Canaanites, and this is a historical reference. So evolution is correct. Why do I say that? Because Yahweh didn't make them from the dust of the ground. They're not made from the dust of the ground. They are evolved by mixing their bloodline with us. So let's go into it, right? And sis, feel free to chime in at any time. Stop me at any time if you need to. Chimpanzee, pan troglodytes. It's even calling chimpanzee a troglodyte, right? Species of ape that, along with bonobo, is mostly closely related to humans, right? So let's get the facial characteristics of a Neanderthal, aka troglodyte. The Neanderthal face is characterized by mid-face prognathism. What's prognathism, right? What is that? So I was on what is this? Pinterest. I was just scrolling around, and then I saw this, right? I was like, man, this is pretty interesting. Somebody, I guess they Photoshop or did something, and they gave you a visual of what a Neanderthal looked like before time. Now they look like this because they've been mixing their bloodline so much with Aboriginal people who Yahweh made from the dust of the ground. That is carrying on our features. But Neanderthals had these type of facial features, which is now what's prognathism, right? Let's see. Prognathism is also known.
Yahven, I don't want to cut you off, but somebody's asking a question about the Hyksos and that he thought they were from Shem. Do you want to explain to him how they're not, what line they come through?
No, the Hyksos are Canaanites. They're the Amorites. They come from the line of Canaan. Let me go back and show you the visual. We can go back. This is what the Hyksos look like. The Canaanites bloodline has been whited out. This is a Canaanite. They don't have dark skin. They have white skin.
That's correct. And J Rod, the Hyksos are actually from the line of Canaan. And like Yahven said, the Canaanites were whited out. And I want you to please pay attention to his presentation because he is being very thorough with the information. So, oh, thank you so much, Hazel, for the super sticker. I really appreciate it. Oh, and guys, if you do want to donate to me, please, my Cash App right on here, ADUIC 777. And go ahead, Yahven, keep going.
Con, sis. And like I said, you jump in anytime because I know you have a plethora of information regarding this. Um, so like I was saying, prognathism is also known as Habsburg jaw. The Habsburgs lived in very far from Africa. Here's Charles II of Spain, who has a Habsburg and had a pronounced case, right? And here's Vlad III of Romania, also known as Vlad the Impaler and model of Dracula. Frederick region of Denmark, Norway, showing prognism. Prognism. I'm butchering the word. So as you can see, there's prognism. There's that right here on the chimpanzee. And here's this. Now, okay, let's deal with black people, right? Okay, well, someone can easily say, well, black people has the same attribute, even though we don't have Neanderthal DNA. Africans are the only people on the earth who don't have any Neanderthal DNA. How do you evolution explain why Africans
I'm
have
sorry,
prognosis?
Yavin. I hate to. I'm sorry, but I just got a super sticker from Hazel Eugene. Thank you so much for that. Thank you. I truly appreciate it. It's very much appreciated. Thank you so much. All right, Yavin.
Okay, con. It says most Africans don't have prognatism. It's not an African trait. African traits are extremely kinky hair, small noses, full lips, and a lot of sexual dimorphism, which is true. West Africans have the most, while East and Southeast Asians have the least. I don't know if you asked this question intending to be racist or not, but just know that it holds no water. So this is a trait, a Neanderthal trait. And sometimes the traits become even more pronounced. Just, you know how they say, oh, you can have a great-great-great-grandfather that maybe had a certain medical issue, and then all of a sudden it just comes through your DNA to you. That's pretty much what's happening here. And so let's get another witness. First, there is no evolution between people unless one is no longer a Homo sapien. Africans don't have prognatism. Africans in general have full lips and shorter noses. So this is just another witness alluding to Neanderthal characteristics. And that's what this article is saying. And then it says, the projected Neanderthal nose and paranasal sinuses have generally been explained as having warmed air and it entered the lungs and retained moisture. But which is here, right? As you can see, right here, matching the same thing. And then, of course, if we go here, they reconstruct Neanderthals here based on the skull. So this is what the skull is showing. This is, even though this is however they did it, these are still skulls that they found of Neanderthal, which Europeans have that DNA within their blood. So Neanderthal featured a rather large jaw, which was once cited as a response to a large bite force. Okay, let's get it. See, there you go. Which kind of matches the characteristics of a chimpanzee. And a chimpanzee is called what? A pan troglodyte. Now let's observe this, right? Let's observe the word pan, because we know what troglodyte is, which is a Neanderthal. But let's observe the word pan, right? Pan plus troglodyte. Well, who is Pan, right? Pan, a Greek god. In ancient Greek religion, he has the hindquarters, legs, and horns of a goat, in the same manner as fawn or satyr, which can also be known as Seir, which with his homeland in rustic Arcadia. He is also recognized as the god of fields, groves, wooden glens, and often affiliated with sex. So these people know what they descend from. Okay? Because of this, Pan is connected to fertility and the reason of spring. Same thing with Asherah. Their gods get recycled. And we're going to prove that later. And we already saw what the strong definition of Seir means: goat, devil, satyr, hairy. There's Pan, a Greek god. It's right in your face. So let's go to the next slide, right? What does that mean? Well, here's First Ezra chapter 8, verse 70. And the holy seed is mixed with the strange people of the land. Okay? Here we have Pan. Here we have the troglodyte. All they witness for
You bringing it, Yahven. You bringing it.
Yep. All they waiting is for the men of Israel to sign your name on that dotted line to seal this covenant. This is a covenant. This is Hasatan's covenant to white out your bloodline. This is what you happen when you get with the troglodyte. Oh, my bad. I didn't mean troglodyte. Neanderthal. Let me be politically correct. You are in covenant with their God when you mix your bloodline with them. It's right here, and this is their gods get recycled. We're gonna show even more of that throughout the presentation. So, yeah, it's right in your face. So, okay, now let's deal with the Levant, right? Let's go to Genesis chapter 10, verse 15, just to prove what I said earlier. And Canaan begat Sidon, his firstborn, and Heth, and the Jebusite, the Amorite, and the Girgashite, and the Hivite, and the Archite, and the Sinite, and the Arvadite, and the Zamorite, and the Hamathites. And afterward were the families of the Canaanites spread abroad. Okay? So, here we have the Levant. Let's see what this is talking about. Canaanite DNA shows waves of migration from the Caucasus Mountains lives on in modern Arabs and Jews. It says from the Caucasus Mountains. Okay? Tel Megiddo was an important Canaanite city-state during the Bronze Age, approximately 3500 BC to 1200 BC. DNA analysis revealed that the city's population included migrants from the distant Caucasus Mountains. A new study of ancient DNA traces the surprising heritage of these mysterious Bronze Age people. So let's get here. Let's get another witness. People also ask, where did the Canaanites come from? In the case of the Canaanites, it is more likely that the population influx came from the Caucasus rather than Iran, because we do have evidence of a cultural link between the Caucasus and the southern Levant in the Bronze Age, says Israel Frankenstein, a Tel Aviv University archaeologist who took part in the study. Right? And back to this article on Search History, it says here, Thebes and Canaanites. As Egyptians built pyramids and Mesopotamians constructed ziggurats, some 4,500 years ago, the Canaanites began to develop towns and cities between these great powers. They first appear in the historical record around 1800 BC when the king of the city-state of Mari in today's eastern Syria complained about Thebes and Canaanites. They cause disruption wherever they go. They come into your land, steal, kill, rape, murder, and slavery. Even the ancient witnesses are all saying the same thing, right? And their origin is from the multiple witnesses that we've shown, straight out of the Caucasus Mountains, is where they made it with the offspring of the fallen, became some form of troglodyte DNA, because we know also, well, I'm not going to go all the way back, but it said, what did the offspring of the fallen do? They took human and animal mates. See? So that's all tying into what Enoch is saying. And we have witnesses all throughout history saying that these people invade, cause problems, and they have disgusting practices about themselves, right? So let's deal with the Khazars, right? The Khazars were a nomadic Turkic people that in the 6th century BCE established a major commercial empire covering the southeastern section of European Russia, southern Ukraine, Crimea, Kazakhstan. I want to say that what there is. But basically, the key point I wanted to highlight is the Khazars dominated the vast area extending from the Volga-Don steppes to the eastern Crimea and northern Caucasus. Khazaria long served as a buffer state between the Byzantine Empire and both the nomads of northern steppes. Northern steppes, right? So the steppes, I am going to go back for this one. Uh, the first people to come out of the Caucasus Mountains were known as the steppe herders, the steppes. It was what they were called. They came out, then they went into Anatolia. It's just, these are Canaanites, by the way. And then they started mixing with other Canaanites, and then there's just a bunch influx of mixing going on. And then they started mixing with the people of the Levant, right? Right up in here. This is what this is showing. Map of Western Eurasia showing areas of estimated dates of possible Neanderthal modern human hybridization in red, based on fossil samples from indicated sites, right in the Levant, right here. This is where people's bloodlines started getting whited out. Aside from them running all up in Europe and doing that to the Aboriginal Japhites. So let's go on to the next one, right? Now we're about to deal with, we want to take it even further to just drive this home, right? This is what's going to drive this home. And I got to, a shout out to my sister Natalia. I got to give her her flowers for putting me on game with the Minoans. So I'm going to go into this. The Minoans is the first Greek civilization in Europe, the first civilization in Europe. And I'm going to talk about these people, and then I'm going to talk about what happened. You still there, sis? She probably stepped away. But
No, I'm still here, and thank you so much for the shout out. Yes, I'm here. I just didn't want to interrupt, but yes, I see you on those Minoans right now.
yes, because we're gonna show something else, which I'm sure you already know. But
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna lead me into my next point, and feel free to chime in, like I said.
Oh yeah, and you shared some stuff with me that I did not know. So just know that you're
Okay,
definitely not only are you enlightening the audience, but you're also enlightening me as well. Truly appreciate
con,
your good
con,
work here. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna stay up here, and if I feel like I want to chime in, I'll do just that.
sis. Okay, all right. So let's talk about the Minoan civilization, right? The Minoan civilization was a Bronze Age culture which was centered on the island of Crete, known for its monumental architecture and its energetic art. It is often regarded as the first civilization in Europe. Now, before I go here, let me just show you a little sneak peek of what the first civilization in Europe looked like, right? Okay, now you saw that
Do you
black.
notice how they was chasing behind those women, right?
Yep, we're definitely gonna get into that. Definitely.
Okay.
Yep. Let's see. Uh, the Minoan civilization developed from the local Neolithic culture around 3100 BC, with complex urban settlements beginning around 2000 BC. After 1450 BC, they came under the cultural and perhaps political domination of the mainland Mycenaean Greeks. And we're going to prove soon that these are nothing but Canaanites who infiltrated Europe, right? Because these Minoans are Japhet. So forming a hybrid culture, which lasted until around 1100 BC. Now, what did I talk about earlier regarding the Hyksos? They went in, infiltrated, forming a melting pot, just like we see here, just like we see in America today, right? So let's keep going, right? The Minoans developed two writing systems known as Cretan hieroglyphics and Linear A because neither script has been fully deciphered. The identity of the Minoan language is unknown. This is another witness that's telling you these people do not descend from the line of Ham. They are not, from the Canaanites, because the Canaanites are the creators of the Proto-Indo-European language family. This language can't even be deciphered. Well, let you know they're not of the same stock of people, right? Based on what is known, the language is regarded as unlikely to belong to a well-attested language family such as Indo-European or Shemitic. These people are Japheth. After 1450 BC, a modified version of Linear A, is known as Linear B, was used to write Mycenaean Greek, which had become the language of the administration on Crete. The Edo-Cretian language attested in a few post-Bronze Age inscriptions. Okay, let me go to my key points here. Well, let me see. Okay, yeah, let me go ahead and read this, right? Because Black people, when we create civilizations, we do our thing, right? The Minoans constructed enormous buildings, which their initial excavators labeled Minoan palaces. Subsequent research has shown that they served a variety of religious and economic purposes rather than being royal residences. Though their exact role in Minoan society is a matter of continuing debate, the palaces consisted of large rectangular court surrounded by multi-story wings with labyrinth floor plans. The ruins of the palaces at Knossos and Phasis are popular tourist attractions. Okay. Minoan art is included elaborately decorated pottery, seals, figurines, and frescoes. Minoan art is often described as having a fantastical or aesthetic quality, with figures rendered in a manner suggesting motion. This is a point that I really wanted to touch on. Yes, right here. Religious practices included worship at peak sanctuaries and sacred caves, but nothing is known for certain of their pantheon. Pantheon is uh, their group of deities that they worship, right? Now, notice how they said nothing is known of their pantheon, but yet we just saw Pan, the Greek god, what his characteristics are, right? And that's a god that has been recycled from Baal, from Asherah. I mean, I guess you can throw a ball in there too, but the gods of the Canaanites, their motif characteristics, design characteristics are all the same, which makes them easily traceable. But they're saying here for the Minoans, nothing is known for certain of their pantheon, which means they don't worship the gods of the Canaanites, right? So here are the Minoans.
That's
Here's
a
what
good point to make out, Yahven, to showcase how the Canaanites actually are the ones that have the greatest pantheon of gods. And guys, I hope you all tune in with me on Friday. I'm supposed to be going. Me and Zion Lex are actually having a conversation on the Star of David. Is it the Star of David or is it the Star of Rembrandt? And so I'm mentioning that because the Babylonians are actually Canaanites. The Amorites actually were the first establishers of the Babylonians. And we all know that the Babylonian gods, when you get into Marduk, you get into Ep and Lil, all of those go straight to the Canaanites. So the Canaanites pantheon is actually the greatest pantheon that's out there. So yeah, so the fact that we see that these Minoans don't possess that pantheon clearly showcases they're
or
not.
the language, or the Indo-European, Proto-Indo-European language.
Yes, thank you. The Proto-European language as well. But go ahead, Yavin, keep going.
Kind. So as we can see, right, Black people, but now we're starting to see them starting to worship the Neanderthal white girl, right? On their wall paintings, she's coming in as some important figure, flashing her chest, and just got the black men just all enamored by her. You know what I mean?
Those women were something else. I mean, you have to think about it. For King Solomon to want to, turn his back on, on the Most High, who blessed him with so much, just to get to those foreign women, right? But we see it right here displayed in art. So we see the love and infatuation they had for these women back then.
Yeah, the forbidden fruit. And the reason I put this here because it says the multicultural Minoan society. Now, why did I put this here? Because it's like, how come everything that Black people create always got to be multicultural? You know what I'm saying? They don't want to say the Black Minoan society. At the very least, they're going to call it cultural, which I guess they have room to do that because after all, these dudes did put her on the wall as well, so that gave them the green light to say that. and
Well,
they follow.
and a lot of this woman here, like you said, is Shira, Inanna, Ishtar. That she represents that goddess, that Ishtar, Inanna, all of them. So that's who she is, and they worship these goddesses, and she is that in
Yeah.
flesh. So that you got okay. Let
Mhm.
me just sit on down. Y'all haven't got this, okay?
Oh no, I put it here because I was like, okay, couldn't nobody have made this except these dudes here. Who else would have made that? You know what I'm saying? So I put it there, but you can explain it better than I can. Sis, go ahead.
Oh yes, that's the goddess Ishtar, Inanna, or what we would like to call Belat. Okay, that's Belat. That's the goddess that is in the Bible. It's Shira, Ashtaroth, whatever you want to classify her. Diana. She has many different aliases, and she goes by many different names. And as you see, she got the breast all out, and she pretty much is looking like how that that other lady, the white woman, is you actually mimicking her, and
Hmm.
they're giving praise. And as you see, these men, the Minoan men, are like, "Oh my goodness!" Show the one where they're actually walking behind her, like, show,
Right.
like,
Singing music.
who is she? They got a whole band for this woman, right? So,
Yep. Yep.
but go ahead, y'all. But keep it
Yeah.
going.
It's all facts. You know what I'm saying? And here's a visual of their, what they built. A black civilization, which is awesome. But at the same time, they came under cultural and perhaps political domination of the mainland Mycenaeans, which is this woman here. A Mycenaean is nothing but a Canaanite, and we're going to prove it, right? So now let's go to part two of this, the Mycenaeans, right? So this is Zeus. So let's see what the next slide is talking about, right? Let's go to Luke 12 and 2. For there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, neither hid that shall not be known. So let's uncover the information. Mycenaean Greece, or the Mycenaean civilization, was the last phase of the Bronze Age in ancient Greece, spanning the period from approximately 1750 to 1050 BC. It represents the first advanced and distinctively Greek civilization in mainland Greece with its palatal states, urban organization, works of art, and writing system. The Mycenaeans were mainland Greek peoples who were likely stimulated by their contact with insular Minoan Crete, the Minoans, and other Mediterranean cultures to develop a more sophisticated socio-political culture of their own, right? But it says here that they became under political domination of the mainland Mycenaean Greeks, the Minoans. That's what happens when you allow these people to infiltrate, you know, and it usually starts with, with the female sex coming in and persuading the men, stuff like that. So I'm gonna just touch on my key points here. Early Mycenaean civilization from the Shap grave period generally showcases heavy influence from Minoan Crete in regards of art, infrastructure, and symbols, while also maintaining some Hellenic elements as well as some innovations and some West Asian influences. So they come in, they take your um, culture, then they mix it with theirs, um, and they just overrule you and take what's left of your identity. A difference between Mycenaean and Minoan civilizations is complexity and monumentality. Mycenaean craftsmanship and architecture are more simplified versions of Minoan ones, but are more monumental in size, which is true because when you look at the Greeks and the Romans of stuff they built is huge. You know, uh, the decipherment of the Mycenaean Linear B script, a writing system that adapted for the use of Indo-European Greek language of the late Bronze Age. Linear B is because they came in and they were probably bilingual because they spoke the Minoan language mixed with their own form of dialect, and that's what it's saying here. So, lastly, the decipherment marked the advent of an Indo-European language in the Aegean region, in contrast to unrelated prior languages spoken in the adjoining areas. Right. So, let's see. Uh, okay, yeah. The most prominent site of the Mycenaean, after which the culture era of this era is named, other centers of power that emerged. Um, Philos, Tarius, Medea. I guess these are other cities that they've created. But there's one I'm looking for. They came in and they set up their own. They they set up their own pantheons. I thought I put it here. Oh, here it is. Okay, so and their religion already included several deities that can also be found in the Olympic pantheon. They came in and set up that Olympic pantheon. So let's see what that is, right? And Zeus is a part of that pantheon. They were the first ones to come in when they took over the Minoans and set up the pantheon, which includes Zeus and some other people. So here's an article by Armstrong Institute of Biblical Archaeology: Zeus, Baal, and a rare bronze bull idol discovered in Greece. Um, the bull was a valuable physical animal to Greece and was religiously symbolic, particularly in the worship of Zeus. It is one of the symbols of the god. The myth of Europa, for example, relates Zeus' transformation into a bull. The Zeus bull connection goes even further, however, to one of the most infamous deities in the Bible, Baal. That's because Zeus is the Greek equivalent of the Canaanite Phoenician god Baal, in the same way that the Roman Jupiter is the later equivalent of Zeus. In such manner, we see names including Zeus Belus, Zeus Baal, and Jupiter Belus. Zeus and Baal were respected in their various regions as thunder god, and were often depicted armed with a fiery thunderbolt. Bull worship and sacrifice related to Baal features throughout the Bible. Judges 6 describes Gideon destroying the altar and grove of Baal and capturing the bulls at the site. So they set up Zeus as part of their 12 pantheon. I thought I put it here, but I guess I didn't. But they set up the Olympic pantheon. So the Mycenaeans were the first ones to do that, right? So Britannica, here we have the worship of Baal was popular in Egypt from the later New Kingdom in about 1400 BC. Throughout the influence of the Armenians who borrowed the Babylonian punctuation Bel, the god ultimately became known as Greek Belos, identified with Zeus. So Belus or Belos, ancient Greek, is classical Greek or classical Latin text and later material based on them in a Babylonian context. So if we go to French, Belos, Bel, Baal equals Baal, because he's called Zeus Belos or Zeus Bel.
And I just wanted to, make sure we all look at that when it says here with the Babylonian, refers to the Babylonian god Marduk, because the Babylonians is pretty much where we're going to, connect all these dots to, because everything is about mystery Babylon. And so what we have to do is we have to connect Babylon with the Canaanites. And that's how we know who the Canaanites are, because it's a mystery, because Babylon is a mystery. And so what we do is we look at their deities and we look at how they worship. And if you look at Marduk is Baal. And then when you go to Marduk, you look and see who's the deity that's above Baal, which goes up to Enki, and then it goes, like I said. So we're going to learn more about this, because this is how Babylon, which is one of the greatest cities, was created, because of the Amorite Canaanites. And I just wanted to talk about that. And also, Zeus is also Odin, and that's another thing as well.
Yep, they recycle them.
Odin is Baal. Yeah.
Yep, and give them different names. Whenever they migrate into subcultures and new languages created, they just recycle their gods and give them different names and different, like they change them, their look and appearance, stuff like that. So, the 12 Olympians. Okay, I did put it here. In ancient Greek religion and mythology, the 12 Olympians are major deities of the Greek pantheon, commonly considered to be Zeus, Poseidon, Hera. These are all recycled gods of Canaan. Athena, Apollo, Ares. So the Mycenaeans are the ones who set this up after they took over the first Greek civilization that was black. After they took it over and set up Canaanite gods. Right? Same thing they did everywhere else they went. So just to prove what the Bible says, Genesis 9, chapter 9, verse 18, and the sons of Noah that went forth out of the ark were Shem and Ham and Japheth, and Ham was the father of Canaan. Just going through history, all the Aboriginal people of the earth are black people, right? Even in Mexico and Guatemala. That was a great movie, Apocalypto, but those aren't the Aboriginal people. Negroes or Braves were on the ziggurats in Mexico, Guatemala, and all up in South America, which proves the what are those statues called? The Olmec statues were black. I know some people on social media like to paint them as like some Asian-looking Cambodians, but those were black because the ziggurats showed nothing but black people as the original people of this area.
And that's
And
a fact too. And I just wanted to elaborate a little bit more on what you're saying of when you get to the Hispanics. And James King, I see you there. And Zeus is Odin. Is Baal Lucifer? Yes, he is. Okay,
yep,
so yeah, so just elaborate a little bit more about what you said. So when we get to the Hispanic or the you get to the Aztecs, Mayans, and all of them, uh, they have their deity, which is Quetzalcoatl. And if you look at Quetzalcoatl, he's actually said to have had hair that was like corn silk. So when we think about corn, the silk of corn is very fine and it's kind of, white or platinum blonde kind of look. So they said that they were actually visited by they called him a god, and they said he came and he had this hair. They never seen it before. They were very mesmerized about how his skin was white and how light his skin was and how his hair was like corn silk. And so the thing is, who that was is actually Odin. And there's actually tales of Odin actually coming over to the Americas. And what they did was is that they started to sacrifice and all that kind of stuff to this deity. So he came over. So we all know that the Quetzalcoatl god is Odin and as well as Baal. Now, what is the big deal about it is that if you go to Mexico, their airport is called Quetzalcoatl Airport. Okay, so they have not stopped worshiping these guys. They know exactly, and this is something that I get with this 12 tribes thing here. So with the 12 tribes chart, they like to say, oh, the white so-called white man religion, Christianity. But when you really look into what they're truly worshiping, it has nothing to do with the Bible. And this all has to go back to with Canaanite worship, especially when you look at the Aztecs. They were known to have the largest child sacrificial burial ever found in history was found via the Aztecs. So everybody wants to talk about Africans being Canaanites. No. And
not at
also,
all.
William the Slayer, you say how Cheddar Man came from. I don't know what you're saying here. Why don't you elaborate a little bit more? And
Shadow Man is Japheth.
oh, that's what that is, Cheddar Man. Oh, okay.
Mhm.
I never known that. Where does the Cheddar? What does that come from? This
I'll
Cheddar
show you. I'm gonna show you. It's I have a picture of him.
Man. Okay.
Yeah, he is. Where is it? It's at the beginning. I'm almost there. Him, this guy right here.
Oh, okay. So he's Cheddar Man.
I believe so.
Oh, okay. So he said how Cheddar Man came from. Um, the
They found the DNA. Which proves that the original inhabitants of Europe were black people, and this is just a reconstruction of the DNA. And they call him Cheddar Man.
okay, okay.
Yeah. Hmm.
And we're gonna I'll do some more research for myself, and if Yahven wants to explain more, he can. But all right, let's just keep going, guys. I just wanted to talk about how the different deities that they want to, act like they're something separate, they're all are the same. But okay, let's
Yep.
keep going.
And they're even saying it in these articles here, right? Institute of Biblical Art. They're saying the same thing. And he actually saved me quite a bit of work because I was going to have a whole breakdown on the attributes of all the deities, but then I was like, I'll just show this because he's only repeating what I was going to break down. So he kind of saved me a little bit of work there. Um, Yeah, just to show people with undeniable truth that they just recycle their gods and change up their appearance, but their attributes are all the same. So let's go on to the next one, right? Aboriginal, we talked about that. So let's go to Micah chapter 2, verse 1. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, because it is in the power of their mind, of their hand, right? How did the Canaanites get that power? How is it in the power of the Canaanites' hand? Well, we're going to talk about that in the next slide, but let's go to verse 2. And they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage, which we saw with what the Mycenaeans did. They took over the first civilization in Greece, which was black civilization, under cultural and political domination. Then they set up their own gods, their own pantheons, Canaanite gods. And we can just see, because it's like, why are these people here? They're coming to infiltrate and take over, right? Because they're already in Australia. Uh, they got land and property and everything else. They go and they roam and they infiltrate, and so that's what the Most High is saying. You're in land, they in land, and everybody else's land that they do not belong. So how do they get their power? Well, they made a covenant with the Hasatan, Samyaza, is what they call him in the book of Enoch, right? Let's go to Genesis chapter 3, verse 15. And I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. It shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise its heel. And that's what we see today, right? We know all black people come from Eve, and we know Hasatan has his own seed, right? And they are warring against the Aboriginal people of this earth, not just Israel, but all black people. But Israel is the number one, is the head, right? That they have to subjugate if they want any true dominant dominion over this earth. So let's go to Joshua 17 and verse 18. But the mountain shall be thine, for it is wood, and thou shalt cut it down. And the outgoings of it shall be thine, for thou shalt drive out the Canaanites, though they have iron chariots, and though they be strong. So what Africans was running around with iron chariots? We don't even have to ask the question. Let's just go and see what the historical sources say, right? In Anatolia and the Caucasus, or Southeast Europe, the Iron Age began in the second millennium BC, 1300 BC. In the ancient Near East, this transition took place simultaneously with the Bronze Age collapse. In the 12th century BC, the technology soon spread throughout the Mediterranean basin region of South Asia between the 12th and 11th century BC. It's further spread to Central Asia, Eastern Europe, and Central Europe is somewhat delayed in Northern Europe, where the Canaanites went, all up in Europe, all up in everywhere, spreading their seed, wiping out everybody. So iron working was introduced to Europe in the late 11th century BC, probably from the Caucasus, and slowly spread northwards and westwards over the succeeding 500 years. For example, the Iron Age of prehistoric Ireland begins around 500 BC, when the Greek Iron Age has already ended, and finishes around 400 AD. This use of iron and iron working technology became widespread concurrently in Europe and Asia. So they were taught these things, these works, by the Watchers, because they are the offspring of the Watchers. Just like what Enoch said, the Watchers taught their offspring their secrets. So I'm pretty much wrapping it up here. So, that's what that is. This is Hasatan's covenant on the left. You mix your seed with the troglodyte Neanderthal, you worshiping their God. And that's what Esau did. And as you see on the right, the false image of the Messiah is the same deity, right? So Jeremiah chapter 49 and 10, but I have made Esau bare. I have uncovered his secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself. His seed is spoiled, and his brethren and his neighbors, and he is not. Seed is another word for offspring. His offspring is spoiled, but Esau is not, which means that Esau mixed he he accepted Hosata's covenant, mixed his seed amongst the Canaanites, spoiled it. So that's a covenant you're making when you do that. And this is my last slide. So this is, sis, you got any commentary?
All right, guys, we gotta stand up and give a standing ovation to Yahven. Wow, that was powerful. Okay, like my sis said, 12 sisters, one bride. She said, drop the mic. Okay, so guys, um, yes, Yavin, that was really great. Like the way you put everything together. Does anybody have any? Oh, and Obadiah Israel. Oh my goodness, thank you so much for the donation. It is greatly appreciated. I thank you so much for your support. It is so appreciated. Thank you so much, Obadiah Israel. What is here? We got nice work. Thank you, Notorious Hebrew. Uh, he said
Thank
nice
you.
work here. Okay. All right. Looks like
But see, I wanted to add one more commentary. Notice how they have the the Hebrew boy and the Neanderthal girl. You know, I just found it very interesting because that's a covenant that the Canaanite god Pan that they're making with him. Well, pretty much what anybody who mixes this who bastardizes their seed is making with him, with the you know.
yeah, I'm seeing that. I'm seeing that. Yeah.
And this is what Christianity is subliminally saying, because Christianity does away with holiness. It does away with being set apart. You know, come as you are. He is,
Right.
yep, because that signal is, signing off on that. It's
Yeah,
the subliminals are just right in your face.
that's right. And that's what all of this is about. Like you said, it's the holy seed is mixed, right? Mix the holy seed up, and that's what everything's about. It's just mixing up our DNA. We know that pre-flood. See, the whole reason why this whole flood thing happened was because all of our, the DNA of our ancestors was all corrupted. Only Noah and his sons, as well as their wives, had the pure DNA, and that's why the Most High showed mercy, okay, and didn't just destroy the whole everything. He allowed, Noah and his family to come back and replenish the earth. However, it's happening again. Now, when we talk about the Nephilim, the fallen angels, and things like that, um, now, this is what I have to say. I don't believe that they're able to come back the way that they were before. And I saw somebody talk about minotaurs and centaurs, chimeras, all those different things because they were actually mixing as well with the animals. Now, I don't believe they're able to come back and mix the way they did before, like the fallen angels and things like that. What I do believe is this UFO, this so-called UFO phenomena. I think they're uh, getting, you always hear when these people are abducted, they're always, taking their eggs or taking sperm or something like that. So I think they're recreating, uh, offspring on some of these ships, as well as them, like you said, mixing the other way as far as, us mixing with their offspring as well, with the Neanderthal DNA, as well as the rhesus monkey factor.
Mhm.
I know a lot of us are I've been hearing a lot of us talk about, oh, we got Denisovan DNA, we got Neanderthal DNA, like they're like it's proud, and that's why they need to be educated and know that that's not true. So that's
Exactly.
why these evolutionists are preaching that, and
Right.
they need to be educated, and they're actually saying it as if it's fact. And I'm starting to look at them like, okay, they want to say they're primates, they want to say that they have the Denisova, they want to say that they have the Neanderthal DNA, and it's just so interesting how our people want to be them so badly and want that DNA. They want it.
Mhm.
They crave
Mhm.
it, So let me see what's going on in the chat.
I'll be
Um,
right back in like 2 minutes, sis.
no, go ahead. No, go ahead. You say,
Okay.
oh, what's going on? Shalom, K. Judah. You said, Yahweh keep dropping that knowledge now. Isn't he doing that? um, what we got here. Thank you, Yahven. That was great. Keep up the great work at Queen. New School of Thought. They say Kenwick Man is related to Cheddar Man. And greetings to the Set Apart family. Okay, Cheddar Man. William, are you still there? William the Slater, you still there? You want to click? I can drop the link if you want to come on and have a conversation. I've been wanting William the Slater come up here anyway, for forever to come on and share some of the information that he has. But yeah, does anybody have any questions that they want to give to y'all? If anybody has anything they want to say, I can drop the link and see if anybody wants to come on. And if not, we can call it a night. Anybody have any? I dropped the link. Anybody have anything they want to say, questions, or anything they want to add? Just let me know. Oh, hey, thank you so much, Malkiel, yeah? Hope I said it right. I do apologize. What you say here, K Judah? Thought you to keep my sister keep dropping it. You too, my sister, keep dropping that knowledge. Thank you. Thank you. I truly appreciate it. All right. So, guys, again, Friday, I will be having a conversation with Zion Lex. He's supposed to come on. It's going to be an early show. So it's probably going to be around 12 or 1 o'clock, depending on if you're East, East Central. And if you're West, it's even earlier. But yeah, so we're going to be having a conversation about this Star Molech, Star Remphan. Is it the Star of David? Now, on my okay, William, won't you hit the link if you got something you want to do? I mean, say, come on, this is the time. But like I said, a lot of people believe that they actually carry this star, and I want to let you guys know my point of view and my perspective. I believe that the star is the star of Molech, the star of Remphan, and I'm going to be defending that understanding. That's going to be my point of view, my perspective, and I can't wait till he bring his. He is going to actually be trying to prove that this star is actually the Star of David. Um, so with that, uh, it's going to be a very great conversation, and I can't wait. So I hope you guys are able to tune in, and it's going to be, like I said, he's going to be coming with it, and I got some stuff that I'm going to. It's going to be fun. Just a nice, fun conversation. So, but Yavin, did you have anything you wanted to say?
I just want to say shout out K Judah, Hazel, William the Slayer, 12 Sisters, One Bride, everybody in the chat. Shalom, and thank you for, you know, for congratulating me on the presentation. Me and Sis Neftali. It was a joint effort. And yeah, thank you guys.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Yavin. Like I said, you said you're on a cell phone. You can still hit the link on the cell phone, William. You can hit the link on the cell phone. You don't have to have a PC. But if you're not interested, I'm not going to make it. All right. I just know that you're always got some questions to ask, and I would like to be able to answer those questions for you if I have the ability to. All right, looking forward to the upcoming live. Yeah, guys, this live is just going to be fun. We're going to learn a lot. I can't wait, to hear this other perspective. The one thing that I really like about Zion Lex is that not only he's very knowledgeable, but he also teaches into the Sumer. He goes into Sumer and he goes into that history. And we're going to be talking about the cuneiform tablets, the clay tablets, going to that, utilizing that perspective. So we're going to be taking a different. Well, I'm going to be taking a different approach because I want to go into Babylonia, I want to go into Sumer, and I want to talk about what they were doing then with the star. We see it all over the walls. So I can't wait to do just that. Again, Gavin, you want to close out? Nobody has anything they want to say? I'm going to sit here for a second and see if we have any questions.
Con, if nobody got anything, I can close out, but wait a few seconds. Looks like that's it. Yeah, I just want to say once again, thanks, sis, for giving me the floor tonight. And thank you for chiming in and helping me with my presentation with all your valuable knowledge, And shout out everybody that's teaching the truth. FOPE, Woolly Bullies, Negro Onlys, everybody that's striving for righteousness and you know picking up their cross daily.
Sounds great. Thank you so much, Yahven. I truly appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming on. I just received another Cash App deposit from Josiah Ben Yehuda. Thank you so much for your support. You guys don't know how much that means to me. I know I have not been coming live. I know I've been making promises about it and not coming. And you know what? I do apologize for that, guys. I'm just trying to get things situated. But now that I got some things, things are a little bit more in order. I can now get ready to, I'm a bit of a perfectionist. And that's like one of my flaws is that it takes, as soon as I start working on something, I can't seem to get done with it because I'm never happy. And the thing is, and what happens is it never gets done. So I'm learning to just, give a little and grow. So, anyway, guys, I thank you all so much for tuning in. I look forward to you guys. Please check me out on Friday. And then I want to actually have another live where I will be talking about, uh, excuse me, I can't even think of his name. King
Zion.
Solomon. Oh, no, 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 that's Friday, but King Solomon. I want to do a live on, I want to talk about King Solomon and the star that he has in controlling the demonic spirits and things like that. So we're going to get into that. Hold on, and Guza Saba has something to say. He says that was a lot of good information put together and presented well. Look forward to more New School of Thought and Naphtali. And yes, all right. So yes, yeah, this was some great information that you put together. This was fun. But all right, guys, love you all so much. Thank you all for tuning in. And we are out.
Khan. Shabbat shalom. I mean, shalom, everybody. Most I bless.
Shalom.
Mhm.